All right, guys, the next meal is the baked curry chicken. So this protocol calls for, it's almost like breading a chicken, and then we're gonna bake it, again, like I said, with the Italian chicken kebabs. So again, I'm doubling the recipe. It calls for a half cup of melted butter, which I'm gonna throw in here now. I already went ahead and pre-melted that to save all of us a little bit of time. Might have let it sit for just a little bit too long. It's all good. And then it's gonna call for an entire cup of honey. Normally, like I said, I'm doubling it. It would only be a half cup. So measure this out. And that's so much honey. I like to use a rubber spatula to get the honey out. I mean, you could just use your finger if you wanted. The nice thing with these rubber spatulas is stuff doesn't stick to them quite as bad. You know, the honey is definitely still a doozy. There you go. Toss this in the sink. That's how long it takes me to get to my sink. Give you an idea of how small my place is, guys. It also calls for a half cup of mustard. So, I forgot this too. I use a Dijon mustard. You can just use a regular yellow mustard if you want. It's totally your prerogative. I basically get about 2 servings out of one thing of mustard. Then we're going to take 2 teaspoons of salt to throw in here. I used a buttered or a salted butter, so I'm actually only going to do like a rounded teaspoon, just because there's already going to be salt from the butter. And then 2 teaspoons of curry powder. Again, I like the flavor of the curry, so I'm actually going to do 3 teaspoons. And while I'm doing this, I want to let you know I'm actually making way more chicken than what this recipe calls for, because I'm also going to be doing our Phenom chicken date wraps. But I'm going to use the curry chicken in that. So I'm kind of like tripling this recipe almost, I guess you could say. Anywho, we'll get all this mixed up. If you do this when the butter is still really warm, it makes it much easier to mix. Alright, so I got this nice and mixed up, nice and thick, just like a sauce should be. I went ahead and pre-greased my pan with a little bit of avocado oil, so it's a lot like breading. We're just going to take the chicken, we're going to dip it in here, make sure it's nice and fully coated, turn it all around, and then once we're done with that, we're just going to transfer it over. So guys, once you're done with this part, you just pour the remaining sauce on top of the chicken. Normally I'd use a spatula, but my hands are already gross, so, you know, nothing wrong with being a caveman. So I'm going to go drop these in the sink real quick. I did misspeak. I said I'm baking the chicken at 350. I'll actually be baking it at 375 for about 40-45 minutes until it's done. Alright guys, so this is the finished 2 chicken dishes. These are the Italian chicken kebabs. It'll cook down, so as you can tell, it's definitely a little bit more of a veggie-based meal. And this is the baked honey curry chicken. I will save some of this sauce to put onto the chicken for later. I know a lot of people say not to do that. My theory is it was cooked long enough to cook the chicken. There should be nothing else alive in there. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Alright guys, just to give you a quick rundown on how I prep my meals out, this is our 4 main meals minus the chili. So the chili we just keep in the crock pot in the fridge. We mostly eat it for dinner. Saucy things obviously can be a little pain when you're traveling. So on the left, this is the refried bean tacos. That's my tortilla shells and a little Ziploc to go. This is the curry chicken with the asparagus. This is the curry chicken that we would use for the Phenom chicken date wraps. We add the cottage cheese, dates, and pack our wrap the morning of. It's a little time intensive, you know, trying to cut all that stuff up and prep it out, but with the cottage cheese, you just run the risk of it going bad, so we just decide to put it together when we need it. And then last but not least, this is the Italian chicken kebabs with the vegetables that we cooked. So it's just that simple. We portion all these out. Me, Katie, and Sawyer all have our own respective spot in the fridge. We can just grab our meals and go. It's that easy, guys.